Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So during a fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening as we're going over the demo for Neon Inferno from Xenovia Interactive. Now be aware this is either recently released today or is coming out tomorrow depending on the timing of the video, because the publishers did send me over an advanced demo copy so I could take a look at it and talk about it in video. It's basically Contra meets Metal Slug with a futuristic cyberpunk neon aesthetic. When you have those two franchises as well as neon colors, you know you have my attention. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But so far as the demo is concerned, it absolutely has my attention because it has a huge dose of vibe in that futuristic setting, along with some awesome gameplay. And when you combine both the visual and storytelling elements being good, along with the gameplay being solid, you have a recipe for what should be a very good game moving forward. Now, this isn't obviously a full game. It seems to be out in Q3 or Q4 of this year, but definitely pay attention to it and check the demo out, because I will say right off the top, I absolutely love the overall vibe, colorways, and atmosphere in this demo. The city, all of the neon, kind of feels like a futuristic Tokyo mixed with something like San Francisco, and it just works. This helicopter scene right here feels like it is absolutely just borrowed from Metal Slug in all of the best ways possible. I know the developers talk about this kind of being inspired by Contra, but for me it just feels like Metal Slug through and through in all of the best ways. But it has so many new mechanics, a deep move set even in the first level. There is a lot of meat on the bone here as far as how you play the game, and in this area it's going to introduce the foreground and background elements as well, giving it a little bit of a shade of something like Top Hunter, Roddy and Kathy on the Neo Geo. Obviously that's a platform game, not a running gun like Metal Slug, but it does feel slightly inspired by that as well. And I do love that added complexity in the gameplay, having to deal with two different layers. It 100% works, and you'll see here you even have cover in some spots to protect you from those hits, although I did take a death there. This is a little early in my overall capture. I wanted to get the first impressions down, and even though I said I felt like I was in Hong Kong, you'll see the NYPD sign on the side of that police vehicle, so you know what city we're in, at least for this first level demo. But again, I can't talk about just how spectacular this game looks. I do have the CRT filters on. That is the default setting, but I will show you some video with them turned off later on as well, because I know some people absolutely love them, some people don't go for them, so having them available and not being too strong or too harsh works for me. And then of course, if you don't like them whatsoever, it is a toggleable option, which I'll show you in just a little bit. But again, having these two heavy enemies here, one in the foreground, one in the background, and having to try to hop around and deal with both of them, it just works. It feels really good when you actually get the cadence down, and then you even have parries on some of the bullets where you can redirect them in bullet time. It feels like Metal Slug Plus, like taking all of the best concepts of something like Contra and Metal Slug and expanding on them with new mechanics that do work within the context of the game. And I do love this motorcycle sequence here as well. Has the same foreground background layer effect, but now we're dealing with different lanes, and I just see so many different Neo Geo games in this title. This kind of feels like Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, where you have the foreground and background layers where you fight on, but in this instance we're doing it as a running gun. And when you have the neon in the background, that full moon with the clouds over it, the CRT effect, and all of the incredible colors, it just comes together to make something that feels new and unique while also feeling familiar and like a game you loved at the same time. And that is what I want out of these new retro style experiences. I want to be reminded of games that made me fall in love with the genre in the first place, while also seeing something new and playing something new with new mechanics. Now I am just playing this on normal. You'll see that those little projectiles are a bit slow. You can dial this up to arcade mode, where you have to beat the game on a 1cc attempt. But again, this is just the first level of the game. You should definitely check it out and get a sense for it, because I can't wait to see what other levels are coming, and I can't wait to review this thing when it does come out, because as a preview, this thing has a metric crap ton of promise. It makes me want to play more, and when I'm done with the first level, I wish the game would just continue, and that's always a good thing. But of course, it is a preview, so this really isn't a final word, just kind of a look into it. And it does have a fun soundtrack with a lot of good sound effects as well, so go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, and I'll be right back to show you more. Definitely an intense hard rock soundtrack, but that works with the intensity of the game, and I love when games match their overall gameplay intensity up with their music intensity, because it really does help both drive the gameplay forward as well as make the music that much more impactful. And I do love this boss sequence here as well, dealing with both the foreground and the background attacks, having to double jump over these lasers while also dealing with the motorcycle dudes coming at you in the foreground layer. You can knock off these weapons until you do enough damage to the boss and the vehicle, so you can get to the second stage of the fight. And this definitely has some IREM M92 vibes here as well, reminding me of Gun Force 2 as far as how this boss battle goes. And again, this game demo just keeps reminding me of some of my favorite arcade games of all time. Metal Slug, Real Bout Fatal Fury, stuff like Roddy and Cathy on Neo Geo, Gun Force 2, when a game that is modern, that is trying to basically make a new version of a classic genre, remind you of all of those hits, you know it's doing a great job. And this boss fight, again, just has so many good mechanics, having to go between the foreground and background layers with your attacks, having to hop around to keep yourself safe while managing that screen space is so good. And I can't stress enough, again, just how much I love the artwork here. That smoke coming from the fire with that fake scanline effect just has such a dramatic look to it. This is something like Metal Slug quality animations, except out of a new game, and that's what I really want when I play a 2D game. I want to be reminded why I love 2D art assets so much. And again, this is just the first level of the game, but if every other level is this good, we're in store for a very big treat when it actually releases. And I'm not sure how long the game's going to be. I would be happy with a concise 1-hour gameplay session, maybe with some secrets and hidden paths in there so I can go back and play it more than once. But that's the type of thing about this title. It doesn't need to be an 8-hour experience, at least in my opinion, to be a hit. It just needs to be from start to finish good, and so far, with this one level demo, it is just hitting exactly the way I want it to. Although I will say there are a few things that they could fix up, like the story here going off of the bezel on the bottom of the screen. Just couldn't 100% understand exactly what was going on there. But again, this is just a demo, not a review whatsoever. I'm sure a lot of these things will be patched up when the game releases, but other than those few presentation issues, this has been solid, no freezes whatsoever, responsive controls, 10 out of 10 as far as a preview is concerned. And I'm moving over to the second character and turning off those CRT filters. You will see the graphics as they look without those over the top. You leave me a comment down below and you tell me, CRT filters or not. I know people are very particular. For me, I think in this instance they actually work better than not being on, and normally I actually turn them off. And again, that whole parry mechanic with the bullet time is just such a fun new component to a game formula that we've played basically 100 times. I love that it's both intimately familiar as well as doing new fresh things at the same time. That's what I want out of games like this. Give me everything I love and then just give me a little bit more of it, something new to kind of just play around with the genre. But one more soundtrack sample because the music's slightly different here, and I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about why I love this demo so much, what I hope the final game gives us. But enjoy. There's some great music, and as we go through this traffic lane one more time, again, the reason why I've been really enjoying Neon Inferno is because it reminds me of all of those previous games, but it feels new and fresh. A lot of times with these games that are kind of trying to harken back to genres from the 90s, they feel like they're kind of phoning it in, like they're trying to just be a facsimile of those games without inventing anything new. And while that's totally fine, and I do appreciate them as well, I love when developers go the extra mile to give us something new and unique at the same time. And again, that Neon Cityscape in the background with all of that detail, this thing is just absolutely dripping with pixel art, and I want to look at every single square inch of the screen, but of course when you have projectiles coming towards you, that is ill-advised. So as far as Neon Inferno is concerned, this game has a ton of promise, and I just can't wait to see what it does with it. If everything is good as this first level is concerned is good, it's going to be an absolutely outstanding time when it comes out. Like I said, I will leave a link to the Steam page below. The demo's either already out or will be coming out like the next 24 hours or so stay tuned. But short of that, definitely check it out. It is free and you can't get disappointed by that. But we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.